Welcome to the deep dive. Whether you're trying to land that crucial investor, hammer out a deal with a supplier, or even just get your team aligned, negotiation it's the bedrock skill.
It really is fundamental.
Today, we're plunging into the wisdom of Herb Cohen's "You can negotiate anything" to extract the core principles that can give you a real edge in your business dealings.
Yeah, think of it as an accelerated masterclass in getting what you need.
Exactly. And we're not just, summarizing a book.
No, definitely not. We're pulling out the actionable gold. Stuff you can use immediately to transform how you approach business situations.
Right. And to give everyone a clear path through this, we're focusing on 7 key areas. First, we'll dissect the fundamental power of negotiation itself. Then, we'll explore how time can be your strategic ally. Third, we'll uncover why information is truly your ultimate currency.
Crucial point, that one.
Fourth, we'll delve into the art of understanding not just what people say they want, but what they really need. Fifth, we'll look at building the crucial bridges of trust and commitment.
Very important for long-term stuff.
Sixth, we'll prepare you for the competitive landscape of negotiation. And finally, we'll discuss the winning mindset, persistence, and attitude that can make all the difference.
That mental game.
So let's kick things off by understanding the raw power of negotiation.
Okay, so the central idea here, as Cohen really hammers home, is that negotiation isn't just haggling over price tags.
Right.
It's fundamentally about influencing others to achieve your objectives. And power, in this context, isn't about dominance. It's just your ability to get things done, to make things happen.
So for the listener, what are the tangible benefits of really grasping this underlying power dynamic?
Oh, the immediate benefit is just awareness. You start seeing negotiation opportunities everywhere. Vendor contracts, team agreements, you name it.
Things you might have just accepted before.
Exactly. And second, it shifts you from being passive to active. You start thinking strategically about shaping outcomes.
Proactive, not reactive.
Right. And crucially, it boosts your confidence. Just knowing you can ask for what you need dramatically increases your chances of actually getting it.
It's like knowing the rules of the game and realizing you're actually a player.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't tap into this? If you overlook the power?
That's where you really lose out. You miss opportunities for better deals, stronger partnerships, even smoother internal processes. You might feel powerless, like you're just reacting.
Leaving money on the table.
Exactly. Leaving money on the table, accepting terms that aren't really in your best interest, happens all the time.
So how are companies in the U.S. actively using this power? Any real-world examples?
Oh, sure. One big strategy is generating competition. Think eBay.
Oh,
Their whole platform drives up prices by pitting buyers against each other. That increases the seller's power, right?
Makes sense. More demand, more leverage.
Precisely. Another one is leveraging legitimacy. Think about a UL-listed mark on a product.
Right. That seal of approval.
Yeah, it builds trust instantly. And that often translates directly into pricing power. People will pay more for that assurance.
Okay.
And then there's what Cohen calls the power of help me. Sounds counterintuitive, but
How does that work?
we see it with startups constantly. By openly seeking guidance, mentorship, funding, they attract advisors, connections, capital. That vulnerability, asking for help, becomes a source of power.
That's fascinating. Asking for help is a strategic move. So on the flip side, what mistakes do competitors make by not getting these power dynamics?
Well, think of a new e-commerce business that doesn't really differentiate itself. They just kind of blend in.
Okay.
They fail to generate that competitive buzz, right? So they struggle to negotiate good terms with suppliers, can't command strong prices, or maybe a consulting firm, great expertise, but no credentials, no strong testimonials.
Lacking that legitimacy.
Exactly. They lose out to bigger, more recognized firms, even if they're better.
Yeah.
And then there's the founder who thinks they know it all, won't ask for advice.
Doesn't use the help me power.
Right. They alienate potential investors, partners, people who could actually help them succeed. They leave resources untapped.
So bringing this down to a practical level for our listeners, how can they start applying this right now?
First step, shift your mindset. Realize almost every interaction has a negotiable element. Vendor contracts, pricing, compensation. It's all potentially on the table.
Go just accept the first offer.
Precisely. Proactively negotiate terms that benefit your business. Like, say you're leasing office space. Do your homework. Research comparable rates. That's information power. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Understand the landlord needs to fill the space. You, as a potential tenant, have leverage. Use it. Negotiate the rent. politely but firmly.
Clear and actionable. So the takeaway for listeners on this first point.
Identify maybe 3 areas in your business where you haven't really thought about negotiation before. Just brainstorm some potential leverage points you might have. You might surprise yourself.
Great. Okay, let's pivot to our second area.
Mm-hmm.
The strategic leverage of time. This feels like another one that's easy to overlook.
Absolutely. Time. It's often the silent influencer in a negotiation. Managing deadlines, yours and theirs, can dramatically change the outcome.
So what are the advantages of being really strategic about time?
Well, number 1, you avoid rushed decisions you might regret. You give yourself space to evaluate properly.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, if the other party has a tight deadline, well, that's potential leverage for you. And generally, strategically timing your offers, your responses, it just gives you more control over the flow.
And the pitfalls, if you're not mindful of time.
You can weaken your position without realizing it. Reveal your absolute deadline too early. They know your limit.
Gives them an advantage.
Big time. You might also feel pressured into accepting bad terms just because you feel rushed, even if the deadline isn't real. And you miss chances. People often get more flexible as their deadline approaches.
Can you share some examples of companies using time strategically?
Sure. Sometimes large corporations in legal battles almost act like time doesn't matter.
Right.
That can wear down smaller opponents with more immediate pressures. Then you have retail's artificial deadlines, limited time offers. Right.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Exactly. Creates urgency. And think about M&A mergers and acquisitions. The companies that are patient, do thorough due diligence, resist rushing. They often uncover risks and negotiate better terms in the long run.
So what mistakes do competitors make with time?
Oh, the classic is the small business owner eager to close a deal by a self-imposed deadline. They make big concessions way too early.
Signals weakness.
Totally. Or the negotiator who just rushes things to get it done. They miss details, miss chefs in the other side's position as their deadline looms.
Like not realizing the sales team has end-of-quarter pressure.
Exactly. That's a missed opportunity to leverage their need for a deal.
So for our listeners, how can they apply this understanding of time?
Be consciously aware of time, yours and theirs in every negotiation. Don't reveal your drop-dead deadline unless it's a strategic move. Try to figure out their timeline. If you know a supplier needs to hit sales targets this month, maybe signal you're not in a huge rush. That could get you a better price.
Use their urgency.
Or if you have a tight deadline, find out theirs. Maybe they're urgent too, which could lead to a quick, good deal for both sides.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the actionable takeaway on time.
Analyze the time constraints in your current negotiations. Think about your deadlines, what you know or can guess about theirs, and brainstorm how you might use time strategically.
All right, our third crucial area, information. Herb Cohen calls it the ultimate currency. Why is it so vital?
He's spot on. The more you know about the other party, their needs, priorities, limits, the stronger your position. Gathering and using information strategically is, well, it's paramount.
What are the benefits of really mastering information gathering?
Huge benefits. You can tailor proposals to their specific needs, making agreement much more likely.
So it resonates more.
Exactly. You can identify their real leverage points, what truly matters to them, and their actual limits. And you can anticipate objections and prepare responses in advance. You're not caught flat-footed.
And the consequences if you don't prioritize gathering info.
You risk making offers that just miss the mark, leading to impasses.
Wasted effort.
Totally. You might ask for things they simply can't give, which sours the mood. And you miss chances for win-win solutions because you just don't understand their motivations.
How do successful U.S. companies leverage information power?
Market research is fundamental. Understanding customer needs, competitor pricing, that informs negotiations with both customers and suppliers.
Got it.
Competitive intelligence, too. Knowing rival strategies, weaknesses, that helps positioning and negotiation. And building relationships for insider knowledge. Good salespeople cultivate ties to understand needs and decision processes.
That relationship piece seems key. What about pitfalls for competitors who don't prioritize info?
Well, launching a product without knowing if anyone wants it, that makes sales negotiations incredibly hard.
Selling something nobody needs.
Right. Or not monitoring competitor pricing.
Yeah.
You end up consistently under or overcharging, which kills deals.
Yeah.
And the salesperson who just pitches without listening, they fail because they don't understand the client's actual problem.
So how can listeners start using information as currency?
It starts before the negotiation. Research the other party, their business, challenges, motivations, even their style.
Do your homework.
Absolutely. During the talk, ask open-ended questions. Listen actively, not just words, but what's between the lines. Try to understand their perspective. For instance, seeking funding. Don't just blast a generic pitch.
Right.
Research each investor, their portfolio, thesis, past deals. Tailor your pitch to their interests. Address their likely concerns up front. Massively increases your chances.
That's really practical. The key action item on information.
For your next negotiation, make a list. What specific questions do you need answered to really understand their position, their needs, their constraints? Just making that list puts you in a stronger position.
Okay, moving to our fourth area. Uncovering hidden needs. This sounds like going deeper than just surface-level info gathering.
Exactly. It requires more analysis, more empathy. Behind every stated demand, there's often an unstated, more fundamental need or motivation. Successful negotiation, especially for win-win, means understanding and addressing those.
What are the advantages of tapping into these unspoken needs?
You unlock more creative solutions that go beyond just compromising on demands and lead to real win-wins.
Finding common ground.
Yes, and you build stronger relationships because you're addressing deeper motivations. Even when positions seem totally opposed, understanding the underlying needs can reveal surprising overlaps.
And the downsides, if you only focus on the stated wants.
Negotiations can easily become positional standoffs. Each side digs in, leading to compromises where nobody's really happy.
Unsatisfying outcomes.
Right. You miss those win-win opportunities, and even if you reach a deal, it might be unstable if the real needs aren't met. It can fall apart later.
Can you give examples of companies good at uncovering hidden needs?
Think solution selling. Companies that prioritize understanding customer problems, not just pushing products, they uncover the why.
Okay.
Companies strong in customer service often train for active listening and empathy. Understanding the frustration behind a complaint leads to better resolution and loyalty, and needs-based marketing. Campaigns focusing on solving a problem or fulfilling a deeper desire security, belonging they tap into unspoken, needs to resonate emotionally.
What mistakes do competitors make here?
The salesperson just rattling off features without knowing the client's challenges. They might have a great product, but if it doesn't solve the client's real problem, no deal.
Your relevant pitch.
Exactly. Or handling complaints purely transactionally, ignoring the emotion. They might fix the issue but lose the customer anyway. And marketing that just lists specs without connecting to aspirations or pain points. It just doesn't grab attention.
So how can listeners get better at uncovering hidden needs?
Train yourself to look beyond the surface. Ask why. Then maybe ask why again. Dig deeper.
Be persistent.
Yes. Pay attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, body language, tone. Try to empathize, understand their perspective. Like if a partner demands way more equity than you expected,
Okay.
their stated need is equity, but the hidden need might be security or control. Understanding that lets you structure the deal differently, maybe milestones or specific decision rights addressing their need while protecting your interests.
That's a great example, the actionable takeaway on hidden needs.
In your very next business conversation, consciously try to identify unstated needs. Ask open-ended questions, really listen, see if you can figure out what's really driving their position.
All right. Principle 5, shifts focus to building bridges, trust, and commitment. This feels critical for long-term success, doesn't it?
Absolutely vital, especially when ongoing collaboration is desired. Trust creates an environment for open communication, exploring creative solutions together.
What are the tangible benefits of prioritizing trust and commitment?
Well, agreements are much more likely to satisfy everyone's core interests. You're not just closing a deal, you're strengthening the relationship for future collaborations.
Building social capital.
Exactly. And implementing the agreement becomes much smoother because everyone feels a sense of shared ownership and accountability.
And the consequences when trust is lacking.
Negotiations get bogged down in suspicion, defensiveness. Progress is incredibly difficult.
Adversarial.
Very. And even if you get a deal, it's fragile, prone to breaking down later because there's no real buy-in, and long-term, it damages future opportunities, limits collaboration down the road.
How do successful U.S. companies actively build trust?
Transparency and open communication are key. being upfront about processes, communicating clearly, that builds strong, trusting relationships.
Makes sense.
Focusing on shared goals, especially in partnerships. When everyone's aligned on a common vision, it fosters commitment and collaboration. And involving stakeholders, employees, clients, partners, and decisions cultivates ownership.
What mistakes undermine trust?
Deception, obviously. Failing to honor commitments. That erodes trust fast.
Breaks relationship.
Absolutely. Leaders imposing decisions without input. That creates resistance, kills commitment, and prioritizing short-term gains over long-term relationship health. That always damages trust eventually.
So how can listeners actively build these bridges?
Prioritize genuine, trust-based relationships. Be honest, transparent, reliable. Focus on mutually beneficial solutions.
Win-win thinking.
Yes. Involve your team, your partners to foster shared ownership, like onboarding a new client. Take time to really understand their goals, communicate clearly about what you'll deliver, and then deliver on those promises consistently. That builds long-term trust.
Great advice. The action item for building trust.
Identify one business relationship where trust could be stronger. Then, brainstorm maybe 3 specific, concrete actions you can take this week to actively build or reinforce that trust.
Okay, principle 6. Playing the game competitive strategies. What does this mean in practice?
It means recognizing that while win-win is ideal, not every negotiation is cooperative. Sometimes the other party is trying to win at your expense. You need to understand competitive tactics to protect yourself.
So what are the benefits of understanding these competitive plays?
You learn to recognize when aggressive tactics are being used so you avoid being exploited.
You see it coming.
Exactly. You can develop counter strategies for those adversarial situations, and you can learn when and how to be strategically competitive yourself without necessarily burning bridges.
And the downsides, if you're unprepared for competitive negotiation.
You might get intimidated, make unnecessary concessions just to escape the pressure.
Give in too easily.
Right. Or get manipulated into bad terms without realizing it. Or you take it personally, get emotional, and make bad decisions that hurt your position.
Can you give examples of competitive tactics companies use?
Sure. Extreme initial positions like in real estate or used car sales, starting really high to create room for concessions. Precisely. Then there's the take it or leave it ultimatum. Risky, but used by powerful players sometimes. And playing hard to get, creating perceived scarcity to drive up value and leverage.
What mistakes do competitors make when facing these tactics?
The small supplier accepting a lowball offer from a big retailer without pushing back. Undervaluing themselves.
Leaving money on the table again.
Yes. Or the negotiator revealing their bottom line way too early. Gives the other side all the power. And the owner taking aggressive tactics personally, getting emotional, that clouds judgment.
So how can listeners prepare for competitive scenarios?
Aim for win-win, but recognize when it's not collaborative. Learn the common competitive tactics, extreme offers, feigned indifference, pressure tactics.
Know the playbook.
Yes. And crucially, know your walkaway point before you start. And be willing to actually use it if you're selling your business and get a ridiculous lowball offer. State your valuation, highlight strengths, and be ready to walk if they won't negotiate seriously.
Essential preparation. The action item for playing the game.
Do some research. Look up common aggressive negotiation tactics. For each one, think, how would I respond strategically in a business context? That mental prep makes a huge difference.
Finally, our 7th area. The winning edge, persistence, and attitude. This sounds like it's about the mindset.
Exactly. It's not just strategy, it's grit. Persistence, sticking with it despite obstacles, and a positive strategic attitude are absolutely crucial. Tenacity and maintaining focus can often be the deciding factor.
What are the benefits of cultivating persistence and a positive attitude?
Well, persistence just increases your odds of overcoming obstacles and reaching your goal through sheer effort.
Like giving up.
Right. A confident attitude influences how the other party perceives your strength and resolve, and crucially, resilience helps you bounce back from setbacks without getting discouraged.
And the consequences of lacking persistence or having a negative attitude.
You give up too easily, settle for less, you let emotions cloud your judgment, make poor decisions.
Reacting instead of responding.
Exactly. And a negative attitude can undermine your own confidence and signal weakness to the other side, making them less likely to concede anything.
How do successful companies demonstrate persistence and attitude?
Consistent follow-up by sales teams. They know it takes persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Successful entrepreneurs often project incredible confidence and resilience even in tough negotiations. It influences perception. And think about complex, long-term deals like government contracts. Those require immense persistence.
What mistakes stem from a lack of persistence or bad attitude?
The startup founder giving up on fundraising after just a few rejections.
Too soon.
Right. The negotiator getting visibly angry or frustrated, loses composure, makes mistakes, or a business not consistently advocating for its interests in a long-term partnership. Their needs get overlooked over time.
So how can listeners cultivate this winning edge?
Consciously work on resilience and determination. Don't be afraid to respectfully reiterate points, explore different angles, work through obstacles.
Keep trying.
Yes. Try to detach emotionally a bit. View it strategically, maybe like a game. Maintain a confident, positive attitude, even when it's tough. If you hit a setback, analyze, adjust your strategy, and keep going with determination.
Powerful advice. The final action item on persistence and attitude.
Reflect on a past negotiation where maybe you gave up too early or let negativity take over. How might more persistence or a more positive strategic attitude have changed the outcome? That self-reflection is incredibly valuable for learning.
That brings us to the conclusion of this insightful deep dive into Herb Cohen's negotiation principles. We've covered a lot: power, time, information, hidden needs, trust, competitive strategies, and persistence and attitude.
A comprehensive toolkit.
Remember, negotiation is a learned skill, continually refined. We encourage you to take these principles and actively apply them in your entrepreneurial journey and beyond.
And as you move forward, consider this final thought. Which one of these 7 areas do you find most challenging right now? Power, time, info, needs, trust, competition, or attitude?
Identify your growth edge.
Exactly. And then ask yourself, what's one small, concrete step you can take this week to start improving in that specific area? That focused effort is where real progress begins.
Welcome to the deep dive. You know, whether you're trying to land that crucial investor, hammer out a deal with a supplier, or even just get your team aligned, negotiation it's the bedrock skill.
It really is fundamental.
Today, we're plunging into the wisdom of Herb Cohen's "You can negotiate anything" to extract the core principles that can give you a real edge in your business dealings.
Yeah, think of it as an accelerated masterclass in getting what you need.
Exactly. And we're not just, summarizing a book.
No, definitely not. We're pulling out the actionable gold. Stuff you can use immediately to transform how you approach business situations.
Right. And to give everyone a clear path through this, we're focusing on 7 key areas. First, we'll dissect the fundamental power of negotiation itself. Then, we'll explore how time can be your strategic ally. Third, we'll uncover why information is truly your ultimate currency.
Crucial point, that one.
Fourth, we'll delve into the art of understanding not just what people say they want, but what they really need. Fifth, we'll look at building the crucial bridges of trust and commitment.
Very important for long-term stuff.
Sixth, we'll prepare you for the competitive landscape of negotiation. And finally, we'll discuss the winning mindset